Morning, everybody. My name is Jared. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. And every morning to start, am I late or something? Hey, Dubs. All right. Dubs said just a minute. Yeah. You know what I. Sorry. I was listening to music. I wasn't even talking. Good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. That's the trouble. That's the trouble with me listening to Wars. I'll just listen to the song. Um, all right. So about 9 hours ago, there was a small earthquake in New York City. Want to care? A little earthquake. Perfect weekend awaits. I'm sharing this with social media. Want Debs? Want to care? Twitch. All right. Debs and Ants. What's up, y'all? Good to see you. All right. So as he said, hey, a little earthquake. Okay. Thought you might find this a little interesting. There was a pro-Palestinian protest. 90,000 people walked across the Sydney Harbour Bridge in rainy weather. I want to make sure we use our platform to say, hey, Slava Ukraine, free Palestine. Donald Trump's a traitor. He's also a rapist, and very likely has had multiple people killed to keep him from being held responsible. We can say that now that we ain't on TikTok and they kick us off for telling the truth. I'm watching TikTok slowly lose its grip, where people that I would consider like valuable creators on their platform are off the shit. There's a reason that I stopped creating original content for TikTok audience. And now my content is get it uploaded on YouTube first, and then I'll upload it on TikTok because I don't value that space. Because that space does not value me. It did. Got a lot of eyeballs. Real quick. So if you ever wondered why shit's all fucked up, it's because of the prevalence of AI among stupid, uneducated people. Um, I was a student at Purdue University studying data analytics, which includes the use, so they teach you how to use AI. And one of the basic problems that artificial intelligence had was that it was no better than a calculator. Meaning it got math problems wrong. I don't understand how something that's not better than a calculator is now literally a drain on society. And I tried to tell everyone that I could, like, hey, stupid, uneducated people rely on artificial intelligence. There's absolutely no sense in using AI to do anything. And you know how I know I'm right? Because the only people that are using AI are stupid people and CEOs. There you go. Every smart person I know does not use AI. Nope, don't need that. You could be so much more efficient and you could suck a dick. How about that? Oh, we could replace people's jobs. Why would you want to do that? Hmm. You know what I've seen a lot lately? A lot of CEOs biting the dust. A lot of former presidents getting 12 years house arrest for bribery. So, police departments are starting to discipline their police officers for participating in immigration raids. And so I just want to make sure that I tell my audience to hold fast. Understand that ICE is operating still without real bullets in their guns and does not have judicial warrants. They still write their own administrative warrants. And if the police are aiding them, that is against state law. That's not what the police are for. So, we kind of waffle back and forth between don't get taken prisoner and survival is key. We're back in some territory where it's like, hey, know that what they're doing is wildly illegal and that your goal is to not get injured, and to not put yourself in situations where you're gonna get taken down to the fucking ground. Obviously, in my opinion, there's a thing that sticks out on my mind, an event that happened. Senator Padilla showing up and fucking Kristi Noem ordering him fucking arrested on the spot. Other than that, we shouldn't be putting ourselves in spots where we're, you know what I mean? They are showing up at immigration court and shit like that. They're ruling that that's illegal too, and those types of immigration raids are supposed to stop. And I know that a lot of people out there are like, oh, but Trump's having them violate the law. No, here's what's happening. Trump is telling people to violate the law. They're violating the law, and then they're getting held accountable. So I know that everybody's got their fucked up version of the truth, but if Donald Trump doesn't raise the hatchet himself, he's not the axe murderer. He's a bad guy, but if people are willing to do what he tells them to do, those people are ultimately culpable for their actions. So that those ICE agents that are signing up for work, that's them throwing away their career and their families. Those ICE agents being recorded saying, "Oh, we're only taking people into custody so we can get a bonus." Hey, those people are going to get fired, and then those people are basically unhireable, and then those people are going to fall through the cracks, and then those people are going to become the druggies and the fucking problem people in the world. So, hey, as I've been saying the whole fucking time, hey, stay on the right side of history, right? Don't venture onto the right side of politics. You're going to find out the fucking hard way. That's the that's a leopard eat face party, baby. And all they do is eat leopard face. Okay? So, when you see, oh, the court in this state did this, they made this ruling, understand that that's called precedent. So every time a state court makes a ruling, it establishes precedent. And then if it happens in another state, now you have legal precedent based on this ruling in another state that'll help you. Hmm. Yep, bragging about getting $30,000 ahead. Now, hey, I want to make sure I do say this. I don't talk about what I do for a living enough, because of the impact that it has. Let me back up. I don't talk about what I do for a living enough, despite the impact that it has on people's lives. Um, so I had the privilege yesterday of trying to sell my mortal enemy, a lawyer who negotiates on behalf of creditors, whose primary opponent is my company and our competitor. So she told me, a lawyer who negotiates on behalf of creditors, the only reason she's not enrolling in our program is because she's deathly afraid to pull her own file. And I told her, well, that would just be um, a conflict of interest, and you would just pass that to somebody else. No big deal. And she's like, oh, I'd be afraid, one of my coworkers would see it. So, like, what? It's not because it doesn't make financial sense. It's not because it's not correct to do. It's because she's the enemy. And that's she said. I already called National Debt Relief. Okay. I already read the reviews. Okay. One of the things that National Debt Relief does is they will sit on fat accounts and not negotiate those for years. That way that person pays all that money into the program and then they negotiate it and they already got your money. So now you pay your debt off. It's one of the ways they try to get you through the program, right? And I was like, oh. And she's like, yeah, Beyond Finance, the company I work for, they don't do that. They just work from day one trying to negotiate the debt. So we get a lot of Beyond Finance. And I'm like, okay, cool. Anything I need to know? And she's like, no. I mean, they play hardball. Like they show up. This is what we're doing. If you're not signing this, we're leaving. So this is what we're doing. If you're not doing that, we're leaving. and it doesn't give the lawyer much. You don't have much room, and you've got to get some stuff done. You've got to be negotiating for these creditors. That's your job, right? And I was like, okay. And she's like, so generally speaking, if your shit's all in a row, we're good. And she's like, so, again, I want to point out that a lawyer, my enemy, the person that negotiates against my company, said the only reason that she didn't enroll in our service is because she pulls that file. She negotiates against it. Not because it doesn't work, not because it's not correct, right? Not for any other reason than I'm an attorney, a brand new attorney, and I negotiate on behalf of these creditors. Not she didn't not sign up because she feels like she owes that money or any of those dumbass reasons that dumbasses don't enroll for. So I just want to make sure you understand that. And I've recently I've been enrolling like vice presidents of companies and executives and business owners. So for those of you out there that have been kind of tiptoeing and like, what does Jared do for a living? I help people get out of debt. I went to school for data analytics. I was being recruited to work at your banks. One of the interviews I did was with PNC, and they were restructuring their debt consolidation loan program. And they sent me a bunch of data, and I analyzed it for them. And I was like, hey, this is a failure. Like a debt consolidation loan is like 75% to fail. That's a shitty product. Banks are pre-approving their customers for not HELOCs. That's a fucking terrible thing. Don't get a HELOC because if you can't pay your bills and you add money to your mortgage, are you going to lose your house because you felt like you needed 30, 40 grand to pay your debt off? That's not going to work either. So, hey, I have not sat around and Angie said, I'm starting to get debt relief negotiation offers now, getting on track slowly but surely. Thank you. Oh, Angie is one of our clients, one of my clients. hmm So, yeah, we've been in the program less than 6 months, and my wife and I, half of our debt has been negotiated, half of our accounts. So we had like, between my wife and I, we had 12 accounts. We started on the 20th of the month. So it's what, like August 3rd? So we're like 5.5 months in, not even 6 months into the program. And half of our 12 accounts have either been negotiated or are paid off. Now, keep in mind, when you enroll into the program, legally, I have to tell you, it takes like 3 to 6 months per account to negotiate, but that's not the lived experience. So a lot of people, one of the reasons they don't enroll in a debt consolidation program, or our term is debt resolution, because we're resolving your debt. The goal is to get your all your credit accounts paid down to a zero balance ASAP. So you can stop paying interest and start saving your fucking money. Put your money in a credit union, in a fucking savings account that earns interest instead of putting all your money on credit cards. Credit cards are a fucking trap. Personal loans are a fucking trap. I'm a socialist. The socialist economic theory: rent, interest, and taxes are a boon to your existence. Bane. Are the bane of your existence. Not a boon. A boon is a good thing. A bane is a bad thing. So, like, you don't want to be paying interest when the economy is trashed, your fucking retirement is shot, and they're threatening to take away social fucking safety nets like Medicare, Medicaid, and fucking food stamps. So there's a reason, like, when there's a protest, I don't feel bad about working because who am I working against? I'm working against your fucking credit card companies. These fucking people would not give you a morsel of food if you are fucking starving. And every day I have to explain to people that they've developed a relationship with their creditor. And this is the problem. What happens is people fall in love with their creditor. It's the prison complex. What's it called? where you start to empathize with your captor. They've been doing it so long that they're obsessed that this is the correct thing to do, is to continue to pay interest and use my credit card to do things. And guess what? Cash is king, baby. I would rather you have that money in your bank account or in your savings account or in a fucking shoebox under your bed. I give a shit. But anywhere but in American Express and fucking Capital One and fucking One Main. Oh my god. They will let you pay interest until you no longer have a home. And the thing about it is my favorite thing that people have been saying lately, I'm going to call and negotiate with them myself. Guess what happens when you call and tell your creditor that you can't pay your bill? They close your fucking account immediately and immediately sue you. Do you know how I know that? Because it happened to me. So I've tried to tell people, hey, you don't want to declare bankruptcy. My wife has just been through bankruptcy. No reputable creditor would work with us for going on 7, 8 years. So I know that's not the play. And then I also don't think that if you're a homeowner, for example, that getting a fucking HELOC and doubling your mortgage payment, I don't think that's the play either. And then also, I can't imagine taking out a fucking debt consolidation loan. Even though the company I work for, we work with a lender. Beyond Finance owns a lender. They're called Above Lending, Above and Beyond. Isn't that cute, right? Except less than 1% of the people that I work with are going to qualify for that fucking loan. And what's even better about it, not a single person that has qualified for that is a fucking millionaire, that has absolutely no fucking business on the phone with me, has been like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. Not a single fucking person. I have never transferred someone to Above Lending. They're not getting a fucking loan. We're not borrowing on interest. And just so everybody understands, yes, Stockholm Syndrome. Just so everyone understands, like, first of all, you can never empathize with your captor, right? I don't love my mortgage company. Do you understand? I don't love the people that are keeping me from not having to fucking work, right? And there are like way too many people that care about the relationship they have with their creditor. And the reality of the situation is, within 6 months of joining a debt resolution program, my wife already got a new offer on a Capital One card. Already got a new offer on a Credit One card. So the thing about it is, it honestly didn't fucking matter how you do it. But I happen to think you need to do the one that costs you the least money, and people have a real hard fucking time with that. I want you to put money in your bank account because bad shit's going to happen. And putting it on credit, let's say you have a credit card right now that's $5,000. I don't see $5,000. I see 20. Not for me. No, no, no. For your creditor. I see when you have a $5,000 credit card, I'm like, holy shit, that 5 grand is going to take you 12 to 15 years to pay off, and it's going to cost you 20K. What the fuck are you doing? Get off them goddamn credit cards. And you know what's funny? When people don't buy from me, I give them some advice. Because, like, clearly you are not understanding the picture. If I didn't, like, I always tell people when they're like, are you mad that I'm not, like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna do it, I don't know, whatever XYZ reason. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's awkward. And they're like, why? And I'm like, well, you say you want a loan, right? You want a debt consolidation loan. I worked with PNC Bank. I analyzed their debt consolidation program. Those loans have like a 75% fail rate. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you can go to your bank and get a debt consolidation loan, but it has a high fail rate. There's a reason I didn't just go work for them. It's because they didn't have a product at a banking institution that is actually going to help people get out of debt. And I have taken a loan at my bank. I've taken a loan at One Main. I've had a fucking Capital One credit card. None of these things are going to help you get out of debt. All these things are more debt, and people use them as the solution to each other. You know, I have people that are like, well, I maxed out my Capital One card, and then I got a OneMain loan, and they paid off my Capital One card. So then I have my Capital One card back, and then I maxed it out too. So now instead of having a $5,000 credit card, I have $10,000 in debt. And you're like, oh, holy shit. And you get in enough debt, and they're all looped together. And you're like, oh, so you did everything but have this conversation and get yourself enrolled in a debt consolidation program and pay your debt off and get the fuck away from an interest bearing account. Why? Because that interest is going to bury you. And then you're going to call me anyway when you're completely maxed out and are missing your fucking mortgage payment and rent payment and saying, Jared, we had this conversation a while ago when I was 88% utilized and now I'm 105 and now I have no fucking credit. I literally cannot do anything, and I'm getting calls from my creditors. I can't pay my car payment because I'm in over my head. And I'm like, you know what the most common thing that happens if somebody does not do business with me and I go to call you back a few weeks later, a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later? Guess what? Your fucking phone don't work. Not you blocked me. If you block me, it just goes straight to voicemail. Don't even ring. I've been doing this for a long time. But when I call you and it says the person that owns this phone number didn't pay their fucking bill. And I'm like, you know what? 2 months ago, you bragged and told me that you could get through this problem on your own, and I tried to tell you. I studied data analytics at Purdue. I worked with PNC Bank. There's a reason I'm in this chair. It's because I know what the answer to the problem is. And that is, you need to stick as much motherfucking money in your goddamn wallet as possible, in your savings account as possible. The cost of everything is gonna go up. What the fuck is the point of putting it on credit when I'm already telling you the cost of everything is gonna go up? Everything's gonna get inflated in cost. And when you put it on credit, now you're paying 4 or 5 times for that what you would if you just paid for it with cash. And there are people that have a really hard time letting go of their credit cards. And I'm like, you're maxed the fuck out. There's no room. What are you holding? Is this sentiment? Because if you needed food, they would not help you. They're not going to give you, they're not going to extend your credit because you can't buy groceries. What is the point of this if it can't feed you? And you got people out there that are like, I don't know, I guess I'll just find a way. I'm like, what are you going to do, eat out of a dumpster so you can pay your credit card? We got to snap the fuck out of it. We carry around weight like like baggage. And it just holds you down. It keeps you, like, think about, I've been trying to tell people, like, we are so fucked up with capitalism that you can't, and I'm done talking about my job. This is just period. We are so fucked up. Capitalism got us all fucked up to the point where if we didn't have debt, we wouldn't have purpose. Dead ass. There's a whole bunch of fucking people that are retirement age that still fucking work, and the only thing waking them up every day and getting their ass to fucking work is debt. Can you imagine being retirement age in your fucking 60s? Getting fucking social security that you paid into your whole life, and you still gotta work a full-time fucking job because you got a bunch of bullshit ass debt that you are convinced paying it off in full is the only way to go with all that interest on top. It's fucking insane. And the rates people pay, I'm surprised at people's payments per month based on the amount of debt they have. And I want to continue to stick my head out there and say, listen, you know what's fucking really bothersome? When someone with $160,000 in debt like unsecured debt, has the same monthly payment as somebody with $50,000 in debt, with the same debt types. And you're like, how is your payment the same? And you got to understand, people with like a ton of credit card debt generally are wealthy as fuck. And the reason that their payment at $160,000 in credit card debt is the same as somebody with $50,000 in debt. And they're both losing the game. Yep. I have to tell people that decline our service at the end of the call, hey, better luck next time. Hey, gotta understand. My old man told me when I was a little kid, if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it once. Try that on. I tried everything else. Right? I did everything I'm supposed to do. But you gonna hang up on me anyway, hanging on to your visa, just so you know, down the road. And this is after you like exhaust all other things. And they're like, fuck you, I'm hanging on to my credit cards. Like, okay. Can't buy it twice, don't buy it once. You know? Hope that works for you. But yeah, you want to talk about late stage capitalism. Yep. It's because the thing about it is, it's like people got no attachment from other people. Do you get it? It's like people go through this whole life and it's constant two ships passing in the night. Nothing to fucking say to each other, no goddamn interaction with another human being for years and years and years and years and years. And they do not have quality interactions with people. They refuse to fucking learn from people. And then they run into some asshole like me. That I have absolutely no fucking problem telling somebody what you've done your whole life is absolutely the dumbest shit you could have possibly fucking done. And I was in the same fucking boat. I was in the same fucking boat. This election fucking broke me. And I don't mean like broke me financially. I mean, it absolutely made me be like, you know what is not the fucking way? Being a capitalist. Being somebody that it constantly, everything that you have to do, everything that you do, you have to make money on that. And if you don't make money on that, it's not worth anything. Well, I just want to point this out. I make more money than God. Every fucking person that I talk to all day at work, I make more money than them people. So do you understand? There's a reason I don't ask y'all for money. It's because like I make more money than I fucking need at my job. Okay? So the most valuable thing that I do is this show. 90 minutes, only an hour and a half a day. In terms of valuable, what am I doing? I am setting an example for other people where the primary thing that I'm attempting to demonstrate is consistency. I show up every fucking morning. I don't have a script. I don't storyboard. I don't have handlers. We're not taking media from specific people. No, we are trying to find credible news to latch on to that's not the lie that the mainstream media is telling you. It does not make money. We don't have large audiences. In fact, we can't stay on fucking TikTok because the truth hurts. People cannot motherfucking handle the truth. Namely, the executives at TikTok who capitulated to authoritarianism and let Meta take over their data management and then hired a former IDF to manage their community who's absolutely snuffing out pro Palestinian content, which is us. We're the ones saying, hey, free Palestine, hey, Slava Ukraine. And I every morning when I wake up, you know what I keep thinking about? None of us are fucking Israeli and we're all Palestinian. Think about like the cradle of life. Like where did we all come from? And then you could just keep rolling it back to go back to fucking Pangea, right? And where did everybody came from like the center of Pangea, which is literally like Egypt and Bethlehem and shit. It is the center of the fucking universe for a fucking reason. Not religious reasons. It's just the center of a Pangea. That's it. That over time is like spread apart. Shit. Um, yeah. hmm So there's a reason. There's a rhyme and a reason. You don't just like wake up one day and you're like, oh, I'm a socialist. You have to go through some shit. You have to understand, like, for example, one of the things I realized in 2017 when my wife and I bought our house, people spend years and years and years of their lives toiling to be in a position to become a homeowner, to save up enough money for a down payment on a house. The average person is putting like 20% down. The average home, 310,000. Do math in your head. $60,000 or less is generally a decent down payment on a house. Okay, I paid uh, what is now about my mortgage payment. If you'd have bought my house, you'd have paid $17,000 to $30,000 down on that. I paid $1,700. When you're handing somebody a check for 1,700 bucks, and a person in the booth next to you is handing in 25K, real life hits real quick. They're $25,000 behind where I am. And you got to understand, once you realize, like, damn, and then I'm a disabled veteran, and my disability pays my mortgage payment. Ain't no other disabled veterans in this neighborhood. And you start realizing how much less I gotta sweat. Now, on the one hand, I think about I volunteered to serve my country during a time of war. I fucking deserve whatever goddamn benefits come with that. Amen. On the other hand, it should not require that. So I don't believe just because I volunteered to serve and am disabled as a result that I should not have to pay a big down payment to buy a house. And then my benefits cover my mortgage. And I started to sit and think about what do I have and what benefits do I have as a disabled veteran that most people don't have. I don't have to pay for health care. My disability covers my mortgage. The VA home loan program meant I'd put 1% down on a home. Some people put zero down. And what I think about that is why not all of us? That's what I think about that. Why don't we all have free healthcare? Why don't we all have free housing? Why don't we all have a free education? Most of the reason people are not educated is because of its cost. What if there wasn't such a cost? And then, like I said, between what happened on November 5th, moving forward, it only confirmed for me that if these billionaires continue to have their way, they will kill all the poor people, all the elderly people, all the disabled people. They will jail all their political opponents, all their naysayers, and they will turn them into slaves. Again, their political opponents and their naysayers. They'll kill all the disabled people, all the elderly, all the all the old people, all the disabled people, all the indigents. Okay, kill all them. They'll put anyone who opposes them in prison, or worse, and it's like I said. Remember this quote from Abraham Lincoln that I told you was attributed to him. So again, often attributed to Abraham Lincoln is a quote. So I don't care whether or not Abe said it or not. Here's what I read. He didn't he did not say this. It was said to him. His son said that. He didn't make it up. A mystic said it. Okay. That doesn't make it less awesome or credible. And it doesn't mean that Lincoln never said it. Spoke through a medium. See? Here's an article about this. I've been talking about this for a long time. There was an artist called Arcasia that used this quote to make this video. Oh, I found out something yesterday that I didn't know, and I'm assuming like if I didn't know it, like other people didn't know that. Did you know Peter Thiel's gay and that he had his ex killed? Hmm, isn't that weird? I found that out yesterday. And you know, it's funny when you do research, you find out some stuff. Yeah, that's why he's sweating like a fucking pig. It's because he knows, like, the more his name comes up. Hmm. It seems like to me the reason these people want to be in power is because they're all sexual deviants, and they've been brainwashed into thinking that there's something wrong with that. And I just want to say, you know, there's a reason that I founded the American Socialist Party is because we need a political party in the United States that is pro equality, that does not think less of people based on the color of their skin. It is 100% about the content of your character. And the thing that Republicans can't do, right, is they can't operate under the presumption that you can just be yourself. They have no concept of, like, I don't have to be a racist. I don't have to be a sexist. I don't have to be a provocateur. I don't have to sit around and try to get people to fight each other for clicks, and then they do it anyway. I think we shared this yesterday, but in Yemen, they protested. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know he was gay either. So this is on Yahoo News. So here you go. In case you were wondering about Peter Thiel, linked to model who recently fell to his death in Miami. Hmm. To think about it, Peter Thiel's gay, J.D. Vance fucks couches, and Donald Trump's a pedophile. That's the Republican Party. Peter Thiel killed his. It's not a no, because if you say Peter Thiel's gay, then it's like Peter, like him being gay is bad. No, Peter Thiel murdered his ex-boyfriend. J.D. Vance fucks couches. Donald Trump raped children. There, that's better. I feel better. Well, Illinois becomes the first state to require student mental health screenings. Good, we can identify these little serial killers when they're in elementary and middle school. Man, I always wondered what the fuck is in that moonshine. Down there in Tennessee. I don't know if we talked about this, but Tesla got hit with a $243 million lawsuit for damages. after jury finds its autopilot caused crashes. Here's an article from CBS Austin for Austin, Texas, after a church was vandalized. A church in South Austin was vandalized, including having its displayed pride flag torn down. And the church said this is not the first time an incident like this has occurred. So yeah, in terms of this is Arnowski, this former CIA agent, ex-CIA, that had an NSA authorized analysis of the 2024 U.S. election, says Kamala Harris and Tim Walz won, and not by an insignificant margin. And my only thought process is that I wish people spent one iota of the time that they spent trying to discredit him with evaluating the data. As a data analyst, as somebody who studied data analysis, I could have told you that on the eve of the election that there was rampant fucking cheating. Here's one of the things that I remember that I saw. Okay, I've started unfollowing a lot of motherfuckers lately because they ain't doing shit. They do a lot of this, but they ain't doing shit. That's the problem. A lot of people are content creators. You get what I'm saying? You feel me? A lot of people are making clicks for clout, making content for clout, right? I put my money where my mouth is. I protest, right? I boycott. I strike. I founded the American Socialist Party. I'm actually doing something, right? I make sure I get on here every morning, right? Is that Bitcoin? BTC? What is that? Oh, Brian Tyler Cohen. That's the yeah. But a lot of content creators ain't talking about shit. Here's my thing: if I watch your content and you don't talk about what's going on in the world, I'm off it. I don't care if you're a comedian or not. I don't care if politics ain't your fucking thing or not. Donald Trump recently unveiled he's gonna build a $200 million ballroom, gold ballroom, after he kicks 15 million people off their health care. Yesterday was a Rage Against the Regime protest. Can't get to discovery in a lawsuit if you don't get to legitimate concerns. And for the record, I don't know who Joel Hubbard is. I'll actually have to look them up. Which one's Joel Hubbard? Yeah, I didn't really know who that is. I think we talked about the other day that the Smithsonian was gonna remove the exhibit. Such a word escaped my brain. They're gonna remove the exhibit that has impeachments, namely Donald Trump's impeachments. But after public pressure, the Smithsonian's like, nah, we're gonna put that back. And I want to make sure that you see how quick that works and that Donald Trump is fucking powerless. The power of the public is far greater than the power of this regime. That jobs report not only doctored, not only did they doctor the jobs report, they fired the data analyst that was creating the jobs report. And also, even after they doctored the report, they were still horrible. Obviously, this regime has no idea. Tariffs and other bad economic policy and outlooks and futures. Hey, there's a reason I'm not involved in the fucking stock market because there's too many things I can't control in that environment, like a fucking president and administration that's completely fucking incompetent. Hmm. So make sure in sports and entertainment, the NFL is selling NFL Network to ESPN. As I've said before, uh, I don't care. California and other states are suing Donald Trump over his recent order thinks you're nuts. Yeah, but the thing about it is, we're just watching the news. We're just talking about what's going on in the world. You know what I mean? We're not partisan, so I'm not a Democrat, not a Republican. We don't give either of them space. You know what I mean? We're calling them what the fuck they are. More of the same and traitors, right? And the thing about it is, when I think about what I sacrificed, I didn't sacrifice shit. What happened was a whole bunch of people let politics get in the fucking way, that were thinking left versus right when it's fucking rich versus poor. Remember, when a company raises its prices, you don't, that means you don't buy their products. Okay? And I don't like making claims without. I disagree. I would appreciate if you're gonna say something in the comments that you can bring something. It's still 233 a pound on wholesale. The price has not gone up. Hmm. Yeah, it's people that are not discussing politics, not discussing Trump, are just trying to save face. They're just trying not to be held down by the unimaginable weight of this regime. You know what I mean? Like, there's white people that I know that would absolutely wear a MAGA hat that have stopped. They've stopped wearing a MAGA hat. I mean, there's a piece of property around the house that's at a busy four-way intersection that used to run up an American flag over a Trump flag, and that shit fucking went away in November. And that fucking yard doesn't have a Trump flag. It has an American flag. That yard had barbed wire on its fence. That yard had spikes atop the gate in front of that Trump flag, and all that shit's gone. All the barbed wire is gone. All them spikes are gone. That Trump flag's gone. Cease when we're talking about wholesale. That's before it gets to you. So if if price gouging is happening, price gouging is happening, but the cost of blueberries did not go up 40%. And like I said, I bring a source every time I make a claim. If you don't have a source, you don't have a claim. It's that simple. Yeah. It's the ostrich parasitic syndrome. Gad Sad taught me about it. Ostrich, they can get a parasite in their brain that makes them think that the only way they can get the parasite out is to bury their head in the sand and hope to suffocate the parasite. And what they don't realize is that it just suffocates them, right? They die, the parasite gets what it wants, right? A body. Meanwhile, all this shit is going on above ground that's just as dangerous to the ostrich. And it's so obsessed with getting this parasite out of its brain that it'll just suffocate and die, burying its head in the fucking sand. And that's every fucking Trump supporter is gonna have a real wake up call January 1 when their insurance don't work. Is gonna have a real wake up call when their SNAP don't work. They're gonna have a real wake up call when people who filed to have their student loans forgiven one day get a bill for student loans. Yep. And there's a lot of people that can never admit they're wrong because the problem with admitting you're wrong is trying to figure out how far does that go back. Have I been wrong this whole time about basically fucking everything? And yes, and yes, most of the adults that I know are fucking clueless. They have absolutely no clue what's going on in the world. Yeah. hmm And they did, and keep in mind, this administration that passed this big, beautiful bill, they did it like they did it so that they have some ability to blame Democrats for that because, again, people have just stopped paying attention. hmm It, it it's too overwhelming. I hear that a lot. Honestly, I didn't even know Gary Busey was alive. For him to get plead guilty to essay is wild. In other news, rich woman that profited off her name, Paula Dean, is closing her mom and pop restaurants to focus on her chain restaurants. Is what the story should say. So I know when you go to Marine Corps boot camp, you gotta fly into Savannah and then ride a bus from Savannah, Georgia to Parris Island, South Carolina. Um, and so, as somebody that's actually been in Savannah, uh, it can't, it's, you can't be losing businesses that have been operating for 40 years in your town. What are you going to fucking replace it with? Chick fil A? Um, Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which manages NPR, is going to cease operations. Donald Trump did redeploy nuclear subs after the former Russian president made some mean tweets. So, there was a moment in time where I wanted to move to Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm so fucking glad. I'm so glad that I didn't. Not that there's anything wrong with Nashville, Tennessee. And remember that that's part of brainwashing, part of curing people from being brainwashed. And there's a lot of people that were absolutely brainwashed. What did we talk about? How do you undo brainwashing? Well, you ostracize that person and make them sit with the weight of their decisions. And someday they're going to have to come to God. You know, they're going to have a moment of clarity where they recognize, holy shit, I was under a fucking spell. And as I've said before, when it gets too expensive to live, these poor people will wake up. Hunger. When they can't afford their medication, they'll wake up. Now, what's unfortunate is that they'll lash out first at the whatever's nearest. So understand that medical personnel, teachers, y'all are going to take a lot of heat when these poor, uneducated people start to wake up. Hmm. Yeah. Sorry about the dogs. Uh, Doctors in Canada warn of deepfake scans using their likeness to sell medicine. Yeah, Chick Fil A sucks. I fucking hate Chick Fil A. I used to get I used to get Chick-fil-A at an old job I had. I used to get Chick-fil-A in the morning until I found out that they're anti-gay, and then I realized that I would rather have gay friends than eat that shitty dry ass biscuit and that absolutely nothing chicken breast. Um, just so you know, by weight, if you get a chicken sandwich just about anywhere else, it's like twice as much food by weight. Fuck Chick fil A, fuck waffle fries. Hey, I don't give a shit. Now, the only thing that Chick fil A has produced that is meaningful is sauce. And flatly, I would just rather buy it from someone else. Hmm. Yeah, my dogs don't bother me. You know, they'll bother other people though. Doesn't only happens when my wife's home. Just lets me know my wife's home. Because if my wife wasn't home, they'd be fucking howling and miserable, and I would just be like, oh my god. Falling apart right in front of me. That recent earthquake off the coast of Russia caused $1 million in damage in California, by the way. Stacy Marie says so much sodium in that shit. Yeah. So there's a reason, like, I stopped eating. Dude, think about this. Everything's political. Absolutely everything is political. Um, stopped eating fucking McDonald's years ago. Stopped eating fucking Chick-fil-A years ago. Um, as a result of this election, stop eating fucking Burger King. Stop eating fucking Wendy's. They contribute heavily to this regime. You can order your food from Shake Shack. So, for the record, I think we need to petition Shake Shack to make better fucking food because I'm cool with eating at places that are not trying to actively genocide portions of our population. Unlike some fucking churches in New York State that were raising money to give thermal imaging to Israel so that it could kill women and children in Gaza. And again, I want to make sure that I point out that Donald Trump, the President of the United States, his wives, his children, uh, and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, all these people are responsible for running and financing a sex trafficking ring for the better part of 2 decades. And that's on the president, Donald J. Trump, his wife, Melania, and former wife, his ex wife that's dead, and then his children. Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States, used his own children to attract minors, and Donald Trump used his own wives to attract minors, and not the kind in caves. They sex trafficked children. And by they, I mean the President of the United States, his wives, his children, and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And who else? Who knows? But here's what I have come to understand as a result of bank transactions. Okay? And also the reason that all this is happening is because they're all sex pests and can't be held accountable. I mean, Donald Trump is pretty fucking ruthless. Um, I want to continue to make sure that I point out that Jeffrey Epstein was Donald Trump's best friend for the better part of 2 decades. I I I never really had a relationship with my old man, so can't really say that politics divided us, but it certainly was the end of our relationship. In 2016, a staff sergeant got deported. That was like an American citizen, and it was Donald Trump, right? 2017. And I was pissed, and I posted on Facebook, and who but my own father posted in the comments that that guy got what he deserved. Should have filled out the paperwork. And I could not help myself but reply like the last person on earth that I expected to come out as a fucking racist is my old man. Now, the fact that you did it, I'm never shocked. Never shocked. But I'm also never accepting. I'm never accepting that. So I'm gonna never fucking talk to you again. Yeah, yeah, hmm yeah. I've never had a relationship with that man since I left. When I was on active duty, he forced his way into my life. He came down and bought me a fucking car and paid for it too. And then um, I had that. I think I told y'all that story about the flood that flooded out that car, and then he came and got it and possesses it. That's the extent. Like, imagine like my dad's never called me and asked me if I'm okay. Not one time. No, not a single call, text, email, Facebook message. I've never gotten a message from my old man or my mother. Uh, hey, how are you? How are you? Never, not once. If I don't contact people on my own, oh, often wonder how long it would be before I speak to somebody. If I didn't work a job where I have to talk to people all day, I often wonder like when, other than my wife. Yeah, but yeah, my parents don't have anything to do with my life now. And that's not to say my mom wasn't supportive of me, and that my mom hasn't been there for me. But if your only value to me is as a lifeline, what about that whole other part about us having a relationship? But yeah, so I always try to make sure, that I'm supportive of other people that have strong relationships with their parents. It's really important, you know. It's oh yeah, we're off. Is Justin Timberlake saying that he's been diagnosed with Lyme disease? Is that him saying he's not an alcoholic anymore? I'm asking for a friend. But yeah, in terms of, my parents, I've never not wanted to be successful for two people more than my own family. You know, like my dad abandoned my family when I was a senior in when I was in college. My brother ran away from home. Um, my parents didn't come to my fucking boot camp graduation when I graduated from Marine Corps boot camp. My parents didn't come to my fucking housewarming party or my fucking wedding party, right? Um, and they did that on their own recognizance. It's not a matter of not being invited. It's about not being there, and it's by design. It's by choice. This is what Fox News wants. So the thing about it is, I don't even blame my parents for them not having a relationship with me. I blame Fox News. That shit has been on everywhere at my family's house. My whole life, that shit was fucking everywhere. And one of the things that happened while I was on active duty is my leadership said, "Stop watching Fox fucking News. That shit is propaganda." So think about that. Everybody always says like Marines are fucking dumb. Where do you think I became like wildly fucking political and opinionated and shit? On active duty in the Marine Corps, seeing it with my own eyeballs and being like, holy fuck, we need mental health. Holy shit, there are way too many people that, like, they will do no thing in life if it doesn't involve choking the life out of somebody else. There are people that, like, they will not have lived unless they've done that. And then there's a whole bunch of people trying to keep them from doing it. You know what I mean? Dead ass. That's the Marine Corps. It's like a whole bunch of people that are just like violent, and then there's a whole bunch of people that are making them like control that shit. Stop trying to kill each other. Start there. That's that whole morale shit. But anyway, been on here 90 minutes. I appreciate y'all. I too am appreciated. Check the weather today in case some dumbass shit's gonna be. I seen 3 to 5 inches in Nebraska of rain. Not not Trump or Musk. There are massive wildfires. What? Holy shit! Big old storms what's the rectangle state east of Colorado? The rectangle state east of Colorado, is that Kansas? Ulysses, Hayes, Wichita. Yeah, that's Kansas. So I don't see a national map yet. We'll do that and then get out of here. Take it easy, y'all. Have a good day. And again, I want to make sure I don't want to be picking on Cease, dear. Your blueberry prices have gone up by 40%. Okay? I eat blueberries. We buy ours from Meyer. Our prices have not gone up. I looked on the app, and it's not because they're on sale. So the price of your blueberries went up, and and when you show a source and it doesn't mirror what your statement is, that doesn't help your statement. So when you say the price of blueberries went up by 40%, and immediately I Google it and I cannot reproduce that, what am I supposed to do? Because we're friends, I'm just going to be like, oh, that's not a big deal. Hell no! Hey, snap in. I'm not your enemy, right? I'm the one saying like, chill, chill. That's not 100% a true statement. Show me a source. And again, when you show me and it just says like, yeah, the price of blueberries went up. Well, okay, everything's up. That's goofy. Substantiate your claim, and you don't have to make those. I care for you either way, right? But when you make an unsubstantiatable claim, I have to call you out. Otherwise, I'm not being consistent, right? And if I say something that I can't back up, I want to be called out. Cease. That's part of a good community of people is holding each other fucking accountable, right? Remember, I got my ass reamed in our Discord because I said that President Biden ratified the 28th Amendment and somebody read me to fucking rights. Like, your job is to make sure that you are not saying shit that can be easily refuted. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't do that to my community. If we didn't have some modicum of accountability here, what are we, right? So, if you'd have come in and said blueberry prices are up, I got no beef, right? I got no beef. I have no doubt that that's true. But the moment you say 40%, my brain hole goes, oh God, that's a lot. I got to go verify that claim because that's an insane increase in the price of goods. But what happened? Once I started digging in a little bit, it's like, oh, price gouging is happening. Prices are just up globally, but there are places where you can still go where they are not price gouging or on this specific item. Have a fantastic rest of your day and weekend. And don't take it personally. One of the things I've often had to roll around in my brain hole is that it is not about me.